Welcome back to Computer Organization course. Today we will discuss basic input-output operations of processor. This topic is about how processor communicates with external world or user through input or output devices. What are input-output operations? When processor reads a input device and collect the data, it is called input operation. And why input operations required? Processor require data in order to execute most of the instructions. This data may be present in registers or memory, but every time the data cannot be found in register or memory. Sometimes data might be present in external world or with the user that has to be read by the processor in order to execute some instructions. So that time processor executes input operations, reads data from external world through input devices. What are output operations? When processor has generated some data, it may store that result in registers or memory. But sometimes processor require to send that data to the external world or user through output devices. So when processor generates the data and send it to the output devices in order to give that data to the user, that operation is called output operation. Even though processor executes I/O operations to communicate with external world, these operations are not efficient when time is concerned. That is because most of the input-output devices are very slow when compared to the speed of the processor. So when processor communicates with input-output devices using input-output operations, it affects the performance of the processor. Input operation where data is transferred from input device to the processor, or output operations where data is transferred from the processor to the output devices, can be practically implemented using three different ways. That is using program controlled I/O or interrupts or direct memory access called DMA. In this session, we will study only program controlled input output operations. The interrupts and direct memory access are covered in second module. Program controlled I/O. What is program controlled I/O? When a programmer writes a program, he explicitly mentions instructions related to input or output. When a programmer wants processor to read a keyboard data, he writes instruction for input. Also, if programmer want to produce data on the display, programmer explicitly writes the instruction which is nothing but output instruction. So whenever processor executes that particular instruction written by a programmer or written in the program, processor makes input output operation. So if the instruction is present in the program regarding input or output, then only input output operation happens. It is called program controlled I/O. Why it is called program controlled? Because if instructions are found in the program, then only processor makes input output operation when that instruction gets executed. It is called program control. In this mechanism, the processor has to wait for the input or output device till the data transfer gets completed. That means here processor must be involved in input output data transfer. Here there are some example statements for program controlled I/O in C language. Whenever you write scanf statement in C program and processor start executing it, then processor makes input operation and reads keyboard data. Or if you write printf statement in C program, when processor executes the statement, then processor makes output operation and give data to the display. So through program, by writing scanf or printf statement, whenever you require, you can control processor making input output operations. Here is a C program, and when processor executes statements of the C program one by one, if processor encounters a printf statement, then while executing it, processor executes output operation. When processor executes scanf statement, then processor makes input operation, reads data from the keyboard. So input and output operations are executed by processor only when it encounters a printf or scanf statement. So indirectly program is controlling the processor's input output operations, because only when there is a statement in the program regarding input output operations, then only processor can execute input output operations. So that's why it is called program controlled IO. So what is the problem with program controlled IO? The processor speed is very high. Processor executes million instructions per second. But IO devices are very slow. So when there is a communication between processor and IO devices, nothing but the data transfer between processor and IO devices, there will be a bottleneck situation that processor may receive or send large amount of data within quick time, but input devices or output devices, it is not possible to handle that amount of data within that short time. So in this case, there must be a solution for this issue. Now one solution is using signals. That means, for example, if processor has to send a 10 character string to display, then processor may send all 10 characters within a short time, but display device, that is the output device, is not capable to handle that amount of characters within that time. So how signal works here? We make display to send a signal to the processor whenever it processes every character. That means processor sends only one character to the display and wait for signal from the display. Once it gets a signal from the display that character has been processed, processor sends one more character. Similarly, if processor is trying to read keyboard data, data may not be prepared by the keyboard. Keyboard takes a time to prepare the input data. That time, once data is prepared, then keyboard can send some signal to the processor indicating that data is ready and data transfer can be done. That time processor takes care of that data transfer instead of simply waiting for input output devices. Let us see how exactly this solution works practically. The solution we discussed in previous slide is written diagrammatically here. You can see there is a processor which is connected to a input device keyboard and one more output device display. And as discussed in the solution, the keyboard has a signal called SIN and display has a signal called SOUT. That means status of input and status of the output device. Here data in is a memory that has to be read by the processor when there is a scanf statement, and data out is the memory where processor has to send data to this memory so that display later displays it on the screen. You can see here both status SIN and SOUT and also the memory regarding the input device or output device. Everything is within input or output device itself. It is not there in the processor. So now let us take example of keyboard. Processor encounters a scanf statement in its program. That time processor initiates input operation. Initially the SIN signal within keyboard value will be 0, indicating that keyboard has not yet prepared any data to send to the processor. So processor just look at this SIN status, and when it finds out that SIN value is 0, so it keep waiting for keyboard to prepare the data. Once keyboard has the data to send to the processor, it makes that SIN flag as 1. Processor keep reading this SIN status or signal. Whenever processor finds out that SIN has become 1, that means it is the way of signaling processor by the keyboard that data is ready. So if SIN is 1, then processor actually reads the data from data in memory from the keyboard and places it in processor. So every time before reading memory of the keyboard to get the data, processor has to keep checking SIN signal. If it is 1, that means keyboard has prepared the data and processor can move forward. Otherwise processor has to keep checking SIN signal until it becomes 1. Similarly for the display, processor has some data that has to be transferred to the display in order to display on the screen. But processor cannot simply transfer that data and place it in the display memory or display buffer. because display cannot handle that data, because display devices are very slow when compared to the processor. So what processor has to do? Processor initially check the signal of the output device display. If it is 0, that means display is busy in displaying some other data and cannot handle processor data right now. So processor keep checking this S out. When S out becomes 1, that means display is free now and processor can send data to the display. So that time processor sends data to the display buffer. Now question is, whose responsibility is this to make S in or S out 1 or 0? It is the responsibility of that particular output or input device itself. Whenever the device feels that they are capable to handle the data, or so for example, if keyboard thinks that data is ready and processor can read the data, then keyboard makes S in flag as 1, or all other case it makes it as 0. If display is free and can get the data from the processor, then display itself make S out as 1. So this is how the signaling solution works. Let us see the solution discussed in previous slide in the perspective of a program. So here in these statements I am trying to read keyboard data. So what does processor do? Initially processor check whether S in is 0. That means keyboard is not ready, data is not ready, that processor cannot make any data transfer from the keyboard to the processor. So if S in is 0 in the keyboard, processor branch to read wait label. And where is the read wait label? Read wait label is here only in the same instruction. That means if S in is 0, processor keep waiting and checking S in once again. So processor keep checking S in whether it is 0. If it is 0, again it keep checking S in. So until it becomes 1. So it is something like executing same instruction again and again if S in is equal to 0. Means checking whether S in is 0 again and again. Once this S in becomes 1, then processor come to this next statement and transfers data from data in buffer of the keyboard to a particular register of the processor. Similarly, in the second statement, processor trying to display some characters on the screen. So it has to send some characters to the output device. Processor want to make some output operation. So what happens is initially processor check whether S out signal in the output device display is 0. If it is 0, that means display is not ready to receive any data. That time processor keep repeating this. Processor keep repeatedly check S out whether it is 0. If it is 0, again it keep repeating checking S out until S out becomes 1. When display is ready, display makes S out equal to 1. So when processor check if S out equal to 0, so it is condition is failed. So processor executes this next statement, that is nothing but processor transfers data from a particular register to the data out buffer of the display. From data out buffer, later display will display those characters on the screen. So this is how the solution we discussed works programmatically. So we discuss this signaling solution, that is using S in and S out in input and output devices to check whether they are ready to receive or send the data in programmatic perspective. But whether that solution is feasible, this is not actual solution, because processor do not communicate with IO devices in this manner. This was explained only to understand how the solution works. So the practical implementation of signal solutions is completely different, because processor is not connected to every input output devices in this manner. So let us see how practically we can implement the solution of using signals in next slide. Practically every input output device is connected to processor using a technique called memory mapped IO. That means every input output device is allocated a memory location, and using the address of that memory location, processor identify those input output devices, or using those addresses processor makes communication with the devices. So this is called memory mapped IO. Let us see this in detail. This diagram explains how input-output devices are memory mapped into processor. That means you can see here a keyboard device. It has a buffer called data in. That means whatever the data processor has to read, it will be stored in the data in buffer by the keyboard. And processor reads it from the buffer data in and places it in its own register. Similarly, there is a flag or signal called SIN. This flag is also read by the processor to check whether data in the data in register or buffer is ready. So if keyboard makes SIN as 0, then processor thinks that data is not ready. If keyboard makes this SIN flag as 1, then processor comes to know that data is ready in the data in buffer and processor reads it. But the reading data in buffer or SIN flag, processor is not directly connected to this device. Here keyboard is not directly connected to the processor. Instead of the direct connection, actually the keyboard data in buffer is connected to one of the byte in the memory and processor refer the address of that byte. Here I have called that address is as data in. Okay, that address is symbolized as data in. So processor makes use of that address to communicate with the keyboard. Let us see how exactly it works. Initially, when data is ready in the keyboard, the data will be placed from the data in buffer to the byte allocated in it. Suppose data is placed by the keyboard in the byte and the keyboard makes the particular byte as 1. That means for SIN also there is a memory allocated. So that particular flag is bit is made as 1. So processor keep reading this bit and whenever it is 0, processor do not read the byte from the memory. Whenever the keyboard makes this particular bit as 1 and processor comes to know that that bit has become 1, then processor uses this address data in address and reads the byte from the memory. That byte is nothing but the data from the keyboard. So for the processor, it is just like reading a bit from the memory and also a 1 byte from the memory using addresses. So for memory processor, the input output operation here is nothing but memory operations. Processor uses any of the addressing mode like direct, indirect addressing mode and using this address reads the byte, this particular byte, that is the data from the keyboard. Also using some particular addressing modes, processor reads this particular byte, that is SIN bit, and check whether data is ready or not. So this is how memory mapped IO works. So in this scheme, processor identifies every IO devices using the address that is allocated to that particular device. For output device also, processor check the particular SOut bit in the memory and if it is 1, that means device is ready. Processor places data in the particular byte allocated for that device using the address. So this is how processor identifies every input output devices based on the address or the byte located in the memory. For every device, different bytes are allocated. Let me explain the memory mapped input output system using programmatic perspective. Now we know that there is a memory. In the memory, 2 bytes are allocated for a particular input or output device. 1 byte is to store the actual data and one more byte is to store the signal or status, whether it is ready, device is ready or not. Here I have taken keyboard as input device. So this is a SIN. Here this bit is SIN. Nothing but in this entire 1 byte whose address is in status, a particular bit, that is B3. See, this is B0, B1, B2 and this is B3. So B3 bit in particular in status byte is SIN flag. And the address data in is the byte where keyboard places its data after it is ready. Now how processor reads this data? How we have to write the code or program for this? See, that's very simple. Here is the code to read keyboard when it is memory mapped into processor. So initially I'll read the entire byte from address in status. So here there is a in status, you can see here, and I will check the B3 bit, that is the third bit, B0, B1, B2, B3 bit, which is SIN. So I'm testing it. I'm testing B3 bit in status address. Okay. When I test it, if that bit is 0, I will go back to the test again. You can see it, read wait label. I am going back to the test again. Read the in status and check the third bit B3 in the in status. If it is 0, that means keyboard has not yet prepared the data. So keep checking that third bit in the in status B3. So we are repeating this. Processor keep testing SIN, that is nothing but B3 in status address. Now when it becomes 1, branch is failed. So processor executes this instruction, means move byte, transfer data from data in, that is the memory allocated for keyboard, to a particular register of the processor. Here I have taken R1. So it is very simple. Go to in status address, check the third bit, that is SIN, and check whether it is 0. If it is 0, keyboard has not yet prepared the data. Keep checking that in status address and its third bit. So when it becomes 1, that means keyboard has prepared the data and placed the data in address allocated to it in the memory. So that is address is data in. You read that data in address and transfer data from that data in address to a particular register of the processor. Here below I have explained same code for an output device. For example, display. I hope you can understand this code also. Here is a programmatic example to read multiple characters from keyboard and display it on the display. Means you have to make two operations. One is the read operation. You have to read every character one by one from the keyboard, then transfer it to the display and display it on the screen. The program is written in this order, that initially I'll check SIN of keyboard, whether keyboard data is ready. Once it is ready, I will transfer that to a particular memory location. You can see here I have used register indirect addressing. The address of the memory location is in R0. I am using R0 inside the square brackets. Here they have used parenthesis, but they are actually square bracket. So read SIN flag from the keyboard. If it is 1, that means keyboard is ready with the data. Read that data and store it in some memory location. Then check whether output device is ready. If output device is ready, then transfer data from that memory location where you have stored recently and transfer it to data out, so that display will display it. So for every character you have to check whether keyboard is ready. If it is ready, read that character, store it in the memory. From again check display whether display is ready. If display is ready, copy that character from the memory to display buffer, that is data out. This is how one character is read by the keyboard and then displayed on the screen. We have to read multiple characters, so I'll go back and repeat this again. You can see here this entire reading one character and displaying that character on display, and I am again branching back, means I am again reading one more character. So this will keep repeating for multiple characters. When we have to stop, here compare instruction. The character I'll read here and display it on the screen, then compare whether the character is a carriage return, means CR. Carriage return means enter button. So if user enters multiple characters and then finally presses enter button in the keyboard, then I don't go back, I will directly close the program. If it is not a carriage return, then only I will go back and take one more character and display it on the screen. So this is all about program controlled I/O using memory mapped input output. We initially studied what is program controlled I/O, then we found some issues in that, then we found a solution that using signals SIN, SOUT, and then we studied how it can be implemented. Then we studied about memory mapped I/O and how program controlled I/O are implemented in memory mapped I/O. So now after all this, there is one more issue in the program controlled I/O. That means throughout the program, if processor finds out that there is an input operation that has to make, then processor begins the input operation. It checks the keyboard whether it is ready. and keep checking keyboard whether it is ready until keyboard is actually ready and gives the data. That means processor is completely involved in the input output operation. Suppose if processor has to send some data to the display and display is not ready at all, then processor has to wait for the display to be ready. Means processor cannot do any other work here. So as long as input and output instructions are executed, that until the operation completes, processor has to be involved in the input output operations in program control IO. So that is the one problem. What we can do here, suppose if processor needs a data and keyboard is not ready, then processor can do its own work and come back to the keyboard when data is ready. But how can this be implemented? That is, we implement using interrupts. Interrupts are one more way of communicating with input output devices other than program controlled IO. And one more type is direct memory access. So other than program controlled IO, we can communicate with the IO devices through processor using interrupts and direct memory access. Interrupts and direct memory access, those two concepts are discussed in module 2.